Um, I'm always bad with intros, dude. So, welcome to Kick Push Radio. I have here with me Jason Adams, the great Jason Adams. Um, as funny as I know, you were on the Nine Club recently. Uh,
Uh-huh.
that was what your second
That was
appearance
my
on Nine
second
Club.
one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny because I watched Nine Club quite a bit. I love Chris Roberts, and I have to make like an actual conscious effort every time I come on the radio, like to not be like, well, we're
Yeah.
back, Chris Roberts, dude.
Yeah.
I try to do my own thing, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. So yeah,
You
it's
need to
amazing.
you need to come up with your shtick though, like Chris Roberts.
Right. I mean, he's got his down, and like
Yeah.
it'll happen. It's
Well,
gonna happen
well.
naturally. So yeah, dude, I'm like super stoked to have you on, man. It's a great honor. It's a great pleasure. But
Well,
super
thank
fan
you.
of yours for years, for many years. Followed your stuff along quite a bit. So thank you very much for taking the time, coming
Oh,
on to interview.
my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I mean, we'll get right into it. As far as like skateboarding and stuff, how did you discover skateboarding? What got you into skateboarding?
Well, there's like two parts to it, I think. Because I remember I think it was around 1977 because I think it was right around when my sister was born.
Okay.
That would put me at 4. I remember seeing it on TV.
Hmm.
Um, and I still remember to this day, like just seeing it on TV. And I was so stoked because I have this vision of this clip on TV, and in my mind, it was someone hippie jumping like a Volkswagen Beetle
Oh wow.
or whatever. That's how I remember it.
Uh-huh.
So and I just saw that and it just blew my mind. But recently, I was semi recently, I was watching like a Tony Alva documentary, right?
Uh-huh.
And it had the clip that I saw, but it wasn't a Beetle. It was like some other little sports car, and they were like, and it had like a long hood, so they had hippie jumped over the hood of the car. And when I saw it, I was like, "That's what I saw," So at
That's
4 years
cool.
old, I remember seeing that,
Uh-huh.
and I must have talked about it because my grandfather bought me a little plastic banana board when my sister was born. I think, like a new kid comes into the family and
Yeah.
we didn't forget about you. I remember he pulled out this blue, I don't know what it was, just some flexi, whatever. It had open bearing wheels and shit. But
Right.
and he bought me that. And so as a kid, I'd always had some sort of plastic skateboard. And but I do remember getting older, probably when I was like 7. Now it's the really early 80s, maybe 1980 or 81, I don't know, sometime around then.
Right.
And then starting to see the kids in the neighborhood with these like the big like fat boards, right?
Yeah.
And I remember at that age just I just always thought it like that was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
And then when you get to that age and you start like seeing different people in the neighborhood, and you're like, oh, there's the punk rockers and the skaters and the BMXers and that kind of stuff. And just something in me was just like seeing what I thought was so cool. And to me, skateboarding was like the coolest shit ever. And
Right.
just being
Right.
so envious of having one of those good skateboards. And and I I didn't even but I never had one. I wasn't like one of like how kids are now. You just go, mom and dad, can you get me this? Yeah. No, in our generation, you didn't get shit.
Yeah.
You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
I never had one or anything, but I just I like, but I knew that that was like a Pal Peralta board, and like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And so then years went by, and then for my 10th birthday, I everyone asked me what I wanted, and I was all I wanted was one of those good, cool skateboards. Um, but I think I really just wanted to be cool because I thought that was the coolest shit you could do. And so
Huh.
I got some money for my birthday. I ended up going and buying the Santa Cruz Red Dot.
Right
And
on.
then it ended up getting stolen like 2 weeks later.
Oh wow.
And then 3 years passed. So when I was just before I turned 13, my mom was having a garage sale, and I just grabbed a bunch of shit out of my room, and I sold some shit so I wanted to get a good skateboard. I didn't
Uh,
make enough money, so I ended up buying this like Action Sports Kamikaze from like Gemco, which is kind of like a Target now.
yeah.
And but when I think back, the board, it was a total ripoff, but the board was pretty decent. It was, it had like rip-off tracker trucks and rip-off Kryptonic wheels, and it had decent bearings and everything. That's how it started. Once I
Yeah.
got that board, that was it. And then I started like Frankensteining pieces together that I would buy used from kids at school. And then
Right.
from that time on, from 12, just before I turned 13, that was it. That to this day, I'm going to be 50 next month, and that's just,
Well,
that's
happy
how.
early birthday, man.
Oh, thank you.
Right on. So, um, do you remember? I mean, because I know you said you bought, the Santa Cruz Dot that got
Yeah.
stolen. What was
Yeah.
your next board? Like, what was your first like
Well, so the
setup? You're
Santa
like,
Cruz Red Dot,
uh,
it was like a Ramp Street 10-inch. That's what I got. And I
uh,
got OJ wheels and independent trucks. And that one was gone. So it was a while. Then I bought that Action Sports Kamikaze. But then when I finally went to get a brand new board for the first time, like I picked it out, like a good one, I got a Santa Cruz Bullet flip tail.
right on.
And that was the first one I went into. Like there was a bike shop somewhat close to my house, and they carried
Yeah.
Santa Cruz stuff. And the boards were like $5 cheaper than the skate shop, and I still was a little kind of intimidated to go to the skate shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got that it was a red Bullet flip tail.
Oh, right on. Right
Yeah.
on. Very cool. Yeah. Do you still have it by any chance, or is
I
it like
know.
long
I
gone?
didn't I didn't save shit, man. I'm
Yeah.
kicking myself.
Dude, I always kick myself for that.
Yeah.
My first board, my first pro board, I can remember my older sister, she's the one that got me into skateboarding. She hung out with
Mhm.
all the like punk rock skater dudes in high
Yeah.
school. She's 5 years older than I am. I just
Mhm.
turned 46 in June, but she what I think it was this guy that like had a crush on her, gave her this board to give to me because she's trying to be, he was trying to be cool with my sister. It was like a brand new Santa Cruz Rob Scott, with the melting face and like bright green slime balls and the white like going trucks,
Mhm.
with the big plastic base plates, with the white hangers and stuff. God, I wish I would have kept that board, dude. Like I kick myself all the time for, throwing that away or whatever happened to it. So yeah.
You know what? Our connection's shitty.
Yeah. I think it was kind of getting janky a little bit. Can you hear me? I'm gonna pause real quick. So so yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I was saying, I know his internet keeps dropping, is getting kind of shady. But the first board I got, my older sister, one of her friends gave me. It was like the Santa Cruz Rob Roscop with the melting face.
Oh yeah.
It was like the white with like the bright green. It had like this bright green grip tape on it,
Mhm.
and like bright green slime balls with the white goings, with the super thick base plate. All right, it's recording
All
now.
right.
So yeah, so yeah, we're back at it now. So let's kind of move on
Rob
and stuff.
Rob Roscott.
Yeah, yeah.
What year was that?
That was I started, it was probably 88, 87, 88, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right. Because I started in like the early '86,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
the Rob Roscott 3 with the final arm was like the big thing. So then not
Yeah.
too long after, probably '87, the face came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
God, I love that. I mean, I've I've seen the reissues, reprints, and I still can't find the same colorway. is what
Hmm.
I had. But if I see it again, yeah, like I'm probably gonna be one of those suckers that pays $300 on eBay for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Those reissues, dude, that's a racket. People are making so much money off of those. It's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean but at the same time, people get enjoyment out of it, and
Yeah, yeah,
um
yeah, for
so
sure.
what are you gonna do? It's like our comic books or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. I say that. I mean, over here I have a. I mean, you can't see, of course, behind me, but there's a Nodus over there, and there's a cab over there. Like I'm
Hmm.
all about the reissues.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, I mean, are you still doing stuff? I mean, you're still writing for Black Label and still
Yeah.
doing for Black Label.
Hmm.
How long have you been writing for Black Label now?
Well, that's a funny story because I've been on and off Black Label like
Uh-huh.
3 times or something like that.
Yeah.
It started in 97, 98,
Okay.
and then I was with label for like 7 years. Let's see. I don't know. A while.
Uh-huh.
But and then I went to Enjoy for a while,
Uh-huh.
and then that kind of exploded, and then I went back to Black Label. But I've pretty much just been with Black Label, like, other than Enjoy. And then like when the whole pro skater thing kind of like in my mind crumbled, then I just kind
Uh-huh.
of split everything. I was just kind of like, all right, I'm over it. It was like the whole economy crashed,
Yeah.
and this my whole kind of life crashed, and I was just kind of wanted to walk away from everything. I
Yeah.
might have been I was going through a little bit of a crisis on multiple levels, but then just for whatever reason I just kind of got drawn back into it. Um
Mhm.
I just couldn't. I'm to this day I just can't really stay away. Not that I want to, but the thing is at least with me, like when I turned pro, to
Mhm.
me it was such a limited time span. I was like, this is gonna last a few years. So like the whole time I was just you're just kind of waiting, like, is next year the last year?
Yeah.
Is next year the last year? And it just kind of kept going. So
Yeah.
like, so then like when the economy took a crash and like everything, the bottom fell out of everything for me, I was just kind of like, finally, okay,
Yeah.
because it was just looming over my head for so long.
Right.
Like, you need to move on at some point. And so I was just like, fine, this I'm just gonna walk away. And but it just didn't. And then next thing I know, I get a call from Mike V, and he's doing a
Mhm.
new company, and he's like, "You would you want to be a part of this?" And I'm like, "I'm down, but don't expect me to do shit."
Yeah.
like like if you want to make a board for me and you could pay me a little bit of money, but I'm just letting you know I don't want to be in that position anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have to go do demos, and I don't I just I'm down to still skate. I'm down, to do some stuff, but just. And he's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever you want, I'm cool. So that kind of brought me back in.
Yeah.
And then I've just still been dabbling here and there. I don't really. Since then, I don't really look at it like I used to, like as a full-time thing. It's
Mhm.
not by any means, but yeah, I mean that's just kind of like a short story, I think, of what you're getting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And
but here
shout out to
I am
Mike V,
about to.
man.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah, he'll be here at the end of the month because I know he's touring with Black Flag right now.
Yeah.
So they'll be playing here on the 31st. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Oh,
So
cool. Yeah.
wait for that. Yeah, yeah. So so yeah, I mean basically I mean I know it's been kind of off and on with Black Label, but it's what been over 20 years, right? Like well,
Oh yeah, it's been
he's
like
close to 30.
it's been
Yeah.
more than, yeah, it's 20. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at math in my mind, but
Yeah, sorry
yeah,
to make you do math, man.
it's
Sorry.
been like it's been like 20, 25 years, or roughly,
Right on.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um it just kind of shows what like good friends me and Lucero are. Like, we can have our little differences or
Right.
hit bumps in the road and go different directions, and then kind of just end up back, because it
I mean,
never got in the way of our relationship or anything like that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good fit, like because you see, I mean, I can't name any names off the top of my head, but you see some pros go to like a company, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of, that was kind of weird. Doesn't seem like
Yeah,
a good fit. But like you and Black Label, it's like milk and cookies, man. It
yeah,
looks like
yeah,
it's a good fit, and it goes together.
yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
yeah, stoked on that. Um, so I mean, I know there's so many good Black Label videos, Blackout, God Save the Label. You
Mm.
know, like all of those are so good. Um, do you have a favorite one that like you film for, or like
Label kills.
what's that?
Label kills.
Label Kills. That was your
Yeah,
favorite.
that was my favorite. Yeah, for
That was
sure.
the. I want to say I might say that came out in what was that 2001, 2000,
2001. Yeah.
2001. That
Hmm.
might have been one of the first like big video. I mean, because I've seen you in other ones like 411, other
Yeah.
stuff, but I think that was the video I saw you in that kind of blew me away. It was like, oh my god, because I mean, because your style's like different and you
Hmm.
skate different. I mean, it was especially back then in 2001 where you had like shorties and everything like that blowing up. You know, the
Yeah.
big hip hop era, the big baggy pants. I mean, you were kind of over there doing your own thing. I mean, you I know slappies are kind of making a comeback now, but you
Hmm.
know, like you're like the king of slappies, you know, like you made slappies cool. You know, you've been doing slappies since back then, you know, and
Yeah.
made it like badass. Just like hauling ass and you know doing slappies. So I think
Yeah.
that's
I never really left 1986.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's rad. I think that's awesome.
And
Because I mean, because
yeah.
most people try to follow the trend and do what's cool. I mean, I think it's rad that you do your thing, you know, and you make it your own
Well,
thing.
the thing I always there's a few reasons. Like, for one, I knew I couldn't really compete
Uh-huh.
like with, but I mean, it was a mixture of things. Like, I there's just something in me that always wants to kind of go against the grain,
Yeah.
and I just like what I like, and I'm not really detoured by trends or anything like that. But I definitely and I was excited by the idea of taking the skateboarding that I fell in love with
Uh-huh.
and trying to mix it with and make it modern. It
Right.
like it made it interesting for me.
Yeah.
Like, to go up and try to keep up and just go along with what's going on, it had no interest to me,
Yeah.
and I'm always having to find things no matter what I do to keep. I'm totally ADD, you know what I mean? And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I fly by the seat of my pants, and everything's like emotional, not emotional like emo emotional, but
Yeah.
everything's kind of like I have to have this inspiring thing. I'm not like someone that goes and practices or trains or, is serious about it. It's like I always have to find these things that keep those emotions like excited. And that was the thing that made it interesting and fun for me. And when I got into the sponsored skateboarding game, because skateboarding was always this kind of anti, just anti, you're in your teen years when you get into it, and you're just like, fuck everything, like this
Right.
is anti school and this is
Yeah.
anti what's being shoved down my throat. But then I got into like the sponsored world and like the industry of it, and I felt like I just got plopped into high school. There was clicks and trends and cool and not cool and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
it made me want to just go fuck you to what was going on in like the industry sponsored skateboarding world. It was just like,
Yeah.
god, this sucks. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that's why we got into skateboarding, is to not be like this.
Right.
So then I got a real kick out of just kind of going against all that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and totally trying to do my own thing, and just kind of like dig my own path, and going back to Label Kills,
Hmm.
for the first however many years I did it, I didn't really like apply myself. I was into like punk and partying and just fucking off and
Yeah.
shit like that. But it wasn't until Label Kills to where I like, you know, was like, okay, this could be my last chance to like do something, or I'm just going to get pushed away because I'm kind of just fucking off a lot. And
Yeah.
so Label Kills was the first time where I really applied myself and was like, okay, I'm going to really try to put a video part out, you know.
Right on.
And so that's probably why it, like, you remember it
That
more
was
than
such a good part,
other.
though. It was
Um,
such a good part.
well, thanks.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and the
absolutely.
timing was right
Yeah. And
for that video
what
to come
song
out.
you had? Devil Goes Down to Georgia,
Yeah,
like on that part. I mean, it was just perfect. That was like perfect song for perfect
yeah,
part. So
that was Lucero.
yeah,
Lucero
yeah.
came with that, like, well, Lucero like looks at his writers and
Uh-huh.
and takes like, when he picks his writers, it's more like not like what they can do on a skateboard, but how his writers will, for one, if he personally likes what they do,
Yeah.
and also sees something in them that he can use to inspire him to create stuff for Black Label.
Right.
So he's not just like, who's the best, who's obviously if
Yeah,
you're into
yeah.
Black, you know what it's about. But
Yeah, yeah.
so
Absolutely.
he just, so when it was came down to do my video part, and he knew what I was into and he knew what I was about, he came up with Devil Went Down to Georgia. And when he brought it up to me, I was like, fuck yeah.
That
you
was
know
perfect, dude. It was
you
perfect.
know so
Speaking of, and another one of my favorite parts, video parts, is from Blackout, the one you did with Chet Childress.
yeah.
And that's another one, a great song, like Hank the Third,
Mm-hmm.
the Trashville, and like
Yep.
a whole opening sequence, with you and that was a Plymouth Valiant. Is
Yeah.
that what the car? Do you
Yep.
still have that? Is that your
I
car?
don't,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, I stupidly bought this old Cadillac and
Uh-huh.
decided, and I got rid of the Valiant, which was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Not maybe not the dumbest, definitely not the dumbest thing I've ever done. But
Yeah.
but
Oh
those Valiants are just like, they can run forever.
oh, yeah, and you don't ever see those anywhere, like
No,
even at car shows or anything. Like you don't
they're
see
they're
those
so
around.
they're so simple, and those,
Yeah,
I'm not a big, like, I like old shit. I'm not a big car person,
yeah,
but those slant six engines just like run.
yeah. And that
And
car was so rad with
it,
the
it
with the
was.
leopard dash and
Yeah,
everything on it. I was like, yeah, that was so Label Kills. Was probably one of my favorite parts. And then Blackout, like I love that part. Like with you and Chet Childress,
thanks.
it's like a perfect mix. Yeah, yeah. So that was
Yeah, yeah.
pretty good.
Those are great times. That was like
Yeah,
probably my favorite time.
yeah, yeah.
During my time in like sponsored skateboarding was like Label Kills Blackout era.
Right on, right on.
Sure.
Cool.
Um,
So kind of going beyond skateboarding stuff a little bit here for a second.
mhm.
I know you're involved in a lot of stuff to do with was it punk rock and paintbrushes?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? And speaking of which, that painting behind you, is that one of yours? Like the one that
No, that's actually a like it's a Basquiat like
uh-huh.
tapestry that I mounted on a panel.
Oh, right on.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that thing's rad. So yeah, I mean, what exactly is punk rock and paintbrushes? What's that
Well, I
about?
think punk rock paintbrushes started with this 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 girl, woman, chick, whatever,
Uh-huh.
um, named Emily, and she just knows a lot of people within the punk rock world,
Uh-huh.
and she just kind of realized that there was a lot of people that like made art,
Yeah.
and so that the initial idea was to like get these people together from bands that make art, and like, make a collective and like show their work and do things.
Right on.
And that's how it started, and then it just kind of, from there, it organically like spread into like skaters, because it's obvious, because one of the first people that she had was Matt Hensley. And so I think that kind of made her think like, oh, it's skateboarders, and it's all kind of connected. So Matt was doing it, and between Matt and Tim Armstrong from Rancid, that's how I got involved.
Uh-huh.
Because they were both like talking me up. And then it's just like, and then I was one of the first like skater, not the first, I think maybe Caballero. I don't know. I don't remember. Then like Caballero got involved, and then
Uh-huh.
um now Hosoi, and so it's just kind of spread, where punk rock's kind of like the loose basis, and it's just whatever works within, the world, our world,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
where now it's like tattoo artists and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, it's
Basically like what you're showcasing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's my whole point. That's what I've always said. Like skateboarders, tattoo artists, punk rock musicians, hip hop artists, all that. We all share a brain, dude. It's all the same
Yeah,
thing.
totally.
We're all
Yeah,
like on the same wavelength, Like
sure.
it's just different outlets,
Yeah.
things like that. So
For
I
sure.
think that's why it kind of like all fits well together. So
Y-
that's pretty rad.
Absolutely.
That's,
Absolutely.
speaking of Matt Hensley, I want to talk a little bit about the Salty Dog Cruise.
Hmm.
That's coming up. Like I think I looked that up earlier. It's coming up like what, November, something like that.
November, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And so are you going? Are you going to be
Yeah, I'm
on
going
there?
on this one. Yeah. It'll be
Yeah.
my third one.
Oh, right on.
Hmm.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
I mean, is it like a full on, like full size cruise ship and everything?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the smaller ones,
Uh-huh.
but it's still freaking massive.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a full-on cruise ship, and
Uh,
it's just a floating punk rock party.
yeah.
It's just, and like when you're on the boat, there's always a band playing, it's like
Oh, really?
I mean, there's probably between like 3 and 10 in the morning that there's nothing, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just constant. It's like you can't even see everything.
Yeah.
Like there's like two main, like the main stage at the pool, and then there's like this big ballroom,
Uh-huh.
and then you'll be at the main stage, and then you'll have to leave, the last song to go make the big show at the ballroom. And then in between there's like a club, and there's these other little places where they'll have like smaller stuff, and the bands kind of rotate, and
Right on.
it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
When I was watching your Nine Club episode, you said something about it had like a mini ramp set up or something.
Yeah,
You guys were skating or
yeah, that's pretty much what, obviously why I'm going.
yeah.
The first time I went, that was Matt's idea,
Uh-huh.
and then in the last minute when the cruise ship caught wind of it, they were just like, "Fuck you, we're not having a fucking mini ramp on
Really?
here." Because Matt wanted to bring in, just like what we talked about, like he wanted to have music, skating, and art,
Yeah.
um, like all of his interests. So he hit me up to do an art show and then to skate the ramp, and then he was going to bring some other skater and then other people to if I remember correctly. Anyways, it didn't go on. And but
Uh-huh.
he since he had invited me, he's like, "You're still going." But there's no ramp or anything. And then the second time I went, they had a ramp.
Yeah.
So, and now this time they have a ramp, and Punk Rock Paintbrushes is going to be on the cruise as well.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so it's going to be the full like punk rock paintbrush exhibit and the
Cool.
mini ramp. So,
Right on. Are you going to be displaying some of your stuff
yeah,
on there?
totally. Hmm.
Cool. So,
So
skating on the mini ramp on this cruise. I mean, is it weird? Can you feel it? Can you feel like
you
the
can.
ocean?
It, it
Really?
it's it's a trip because
Uh-huh.
it's very subtle, because it's just weird when you're standing on the deck and you're looking out and you're just seeing the ocean, and you're kind of
Uh-huh.
just seeing everything, do this.
Yeah.
And then the ramps are tethered down to the
Uh-huh.
deck of the boat. So
Oh,
like
wow.
I remember like standing on the deck, and like so, and to the left, two of the tethers would be like loose, and the other ones are like super tight. And then I'd take a run and get on the deck, and then these ones are all tight and these ones are loose. So the ramp's moving
Wow.
slightly,
Really?
and I didn't, and it was really hard to ride, but I couldn't tell if I was just too drunk,
Yeah.
or if I was like or if it was like the ocean, or both, or I don't know
Uh,
what.
yeah.
We'll
Oh,
see
that's
this
gonna be
time.
crazy though.
Yeah, we'll see this time because I don't drink anymore. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um
It'll be a different experience.
yeah, it's gonna, that whole cruise is going to
Uh-huh.
be a totally different experience
Yeah,
with
yeah.
clear eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Still, I mean, it's I remember when I went to my first show sober. It's
Mhm.
like completely different.
Yeah,
And
totally.
afterwards you leave, you're like, oh my god, this is kind of rad. Like I
Yeah,
remember everything. Like
yeah,
this is cool. I didn't make an
yeah.
ass of myself. Like didn't fight anybody. Like
Yeah.
this is kind of fun.
Yep.
So yeah, that's rad. Congratulations on that, by the way, for your
Thanks.
sobriety and stuff. I know that's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a task in itself, dude. It's not easy at
Yeah,
all.
it's been it's it's crazy because it's actually been a lot easier than I was planning on.
Yeah.
I was expecting I was expecting a struggle, like,
Oh
but I
yeah.
guess I think I just got to the point where I was done.
Yeah.
And even though I tried to quit so many times before, I obviously wasn't ready, you know.
Yeah.
And
And that's the whole thing. You have to be ready.
yeah,
Like
you know,
a
like,
million people could tell you, like, oh, you need to get sober. You need to be sober. And if you're
yeah,
not ready, it's not gonna happen.
yeah, it's not going to work. And
Yeah.
I told myself I should and I need to for years, and
Yeah.
it took I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right on. Well,
um,
congratulations, man.
well, thanks.
That's awesome for sure. So, tell me about Slappy Hour. What is Slappy Hour?
Uh, uh, I think sloppy hour is just like a state of mind.
Uh
I
huh. Yeah.
don't know. Well, I could tell you how it started.
Uh huh.
Um, it started just by me just like during that time where like to me when my pro skate position in skateboarding was over
Hmm.
and I wanted to keep skating and I found these curbs.
Yeah.
And so I just started like and I wanted to keep skating, but I just didn't want to go through the like having to go out and hook up with five dudes and take 8 hours to skate 30
Right.
minutes, like that whole process. So I just started skating these curbs, and then my good friend JJ Rogers was living in Sacramento at the time, and he was working here in San Jose, and he would come stay at my house 2 nights a week,
Uh huh.
and and uh and so it was his plan. Like when JJ came, we would go skate my curbs, So it just started this thing, and we would make our little phone videos and stuff like this. And this was like over 10 years ago when this started,
Oh
and
wow.
and so and then my friend Matt Eversole, who used to run Enjoy back
Uh
when
huh.
I rode for him, kind of caught wind of what we were doing. He was like, "Oh, I want to come film you, your curb stuff." I'm like, "Really? Why?" And then, so we came and he filmed stuff. He's like, "You should come up with a hashtag for this stuff." And I'm like I told you when we were trying to link up for this thing, I'm like, I am not a technical, like,
Yeah.
forward thinking phone person or anything like that.
Uh
And so I was like, all right. And that was the first thing that came to mind was sloppy hour. It just popped out of my mouth, like, oh, what about sloppy hour? And he's like, cool. And
huh.
so we started going out and making these like curb little edits and then do the hashtag sloppy hour. And it just kind of caught on really quick.
Yeah.
And then just being like the kind of the creative minded, like DIY kind of person that we all are.
Yeah.
Um, I would just like have a little bit of money and make some koozies or some t-shirts or whatever.
Right on.
And that's how it started. And then it just, then I just started doing my own Instagram page and started making stuff. And then I started putting it on my where I sold my art stuff. And then eventually I just started my own store for it. And then I
Yeah.
started making more stuff and then started selling stuff to shops and things like that. But it's I really when it came down to the idea of making it a brand,
Uh-huh.
it it made me not the idea of that made me not want to do it.
Really? Kind of took
Yeah,
the fun out
because
of it, or
yeah, and I just know how yeah, it was fun for me.
yeah.
And I know and it just I know what it takes to do like a skateboard brand,
Uh-huh.
and to me, curb skating, I just didn't want to turn it into that. And
Really?
yeah, and so I just like the idea. I mean, I just like the idea of when I have good ideas and I feel inspired, then I make stuff and I have an outlet to sell it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but yeah, and that's how I just wanted to keep it. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
probably should have, because this was all before the whole curb craze, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I don't care. I'm not, you know, not into like trying to just squeeze every drop out of whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
I have to keep things fun for me. That's
Yeah.
or else it's you know, um
Yeah. I,
you know, I do house painting work. Like I'm down to go work, but that's different than like skateboarding. So
yeah.
um yeah, it's just my thing. It's just more, but to me, everything I do, whether it's skating, whether it's making paintings, whether it's getting making t-shirts of my art stuff or making slap AR stuff, it's just me making my shit,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I feel you.
And that and that loosens it up to make things interesting for me, so I can do some art stuff for a little while, and then okay, then I can move on and make some slap hour stuff. Okay, cool. And then it keeps everything interesting for me. And that's just how it has to be for me. Because
Oh
once
yeah.
you turn it into a brand, it just, I don't know, just I'm not interested, you know.
No, no,
So
I know exactly what you mean.
mhm,
Like I said, I mean, I run like a little small company. Like I
mhm,
started making wax. Started making skateboard wax. I just made this crazy formula and got it down, and then I kind of expanded from there. And we started like doing like bearings and hardware and stuff like that.
yeah,
But but I still have my like 9 to 5, my real like
yeah,
life.
yeah,
And like with the skate stuff with the company, like like I don't make money off of it, and
yeah,
like I don't care. I don't want to make money off of it. I don't care. I feel
mhm,
like if I'm gonna have to do that and if it becomes like a job, it's like it's not fulfilling anymore,
yeah,
It sounds maybe it sounds like weird and kind of crappy to look at it that way, like I don't want to make money at doing something I love, but it's like I don't want to mix like, you know, real life, having to have a job and making money with something
yeah,
I love and that passion.
yeah. Well, I know how hard it is to for one to make money in the skateboard industry.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
It's almost
brutal.
it's almost
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost impossible, and it's a labor of love. And
yeah. Absolutely.
so because people are always like, dude, it's such a great name, it's such a good logo, all this kind of stuff, you could kill it. I'm like, there is no killing it.
Yeah, yeah. It is
Killing it is
bad
not
though.
being stuck with a bunch of shit in your garage,
Yeah,
you know, like but so for me, I do try to make money off of it, but I just know it's not going to be a lot.
yeah,
So this way, the way I do it now, it's like it keeps it fun, and
yeah,
I'm not subject to ordering a bunch of shit and biting my nails hoping you can move it. It's make a small run of stuff. People are stoked on it. And I started doing it just to also keep some sort of foot in skateboarding, you know,
right.
and like, you know, something that can keep me connected to it. And I could also have some sort of influence to the people that are watching. So
Yeah,
I got a kick out of the fact of watching this curb craze kind of grow, you
yeah.
know. And,
And it has, man. It's
yeah,
grown like crazy.
and for me, the biggest payoff for the whole, like whatever I've done in skateboarding, is to see people get stoked on what I do,
Yeah,
you know. And because money just comes and goes,
yeah,
you know, it doesn't matter if I make 10 grand or $1,000, it's going to be gone in a month.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, you know, so I'm probably repeating myself now,
No, no,
um
you're
but
good.
that was a slappy hour thing. It's just
Right on.
you know, just wanting to do something cool that I thought was cool in skateboarding, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And probably people now go like, oh, it's the curb thing is so big now, and I hardly see slap hour stuff because I'm losing interest. Because it's like it's overkill now,
Uh-huh.
you know. It's like, okay, I almost don't feel like I need to do it anymore because it's everyone else is doing it. So I mean, I'm still skating it, and I still will make my sloppy hour stuff when I have a good idea. But um, it's just funny how when things get popular, I kind of lose interest.
I think that's just skater brain.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think this is how we are, man.
Yeah, totally. Now I'm like, what's the next thing? What up now? What
Yeah, yeah.
what's the next?
Oh,
Start
tree.
skating trees. I don't know. Like
And then that'll become a thing, and you have to move on to something
maybe.
else. Jeez. So, do you? I know we're kind of running out of time here. We'll kind of start closing it out here, but
Yeah.
real quick, do you have any favorite bands that you like music that kind of inspires you to do your art, skate, or anything like that?
I'm into the same shit I've always been into.
Yeah.
Um, it really I really haven't changed since I was in high school that much.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
Understand.
know, granted some new bands come and go, but I'm really into the same shit I always have been. It's like the main, like I mean, I love Bad Religion. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I I love all the stuff from LA in the early 80s and
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I like it all, but that was the stuff that was really influential. I was really influenced by because when I really got into punk rock, like what was going on in like the East Bay and like
Uh-huh.
when the bands like Green Day and Rancid and all that stuff was just starting to happen because I lived so close to it.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's hard to say my favorite, And I mean, a band like Social Distortion had such a huge impact on me.
Yeah.
Um, I would say Social Distortion and Bad Religion
Right on.
probably molded me. And then I always loved country music too. So it's like
Uh-huh.
early on, Johnny Cash and Hank Williams and
Yeah.
Merle Haggard and George Jones. I mean, all that kind of stuff is I don't have favorites, but that's like pretty much early. Like I love like that 60s is hard honky tonk,
Yeah.
like Ray Price and
Johnny Paycheck and stuff like that.
like stuff like that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
like outlaw stuff, but um that it's kind of I mean, I love a lot of bands, but that's kind of it in a nutshell to kind of
Right.
give you an idea of the basis, like the the foundation of kind of what I come from and then
Right
there's
on.
all kinds of stuff that kind of branches off from that,
Yeah, yeah.
there's like then because like the Hank threes came about and the stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah. Have you
but
side note, have you ever been to a show like a Hank 3 show?
yeah, I have.
Oh, it's one of the funnest shows I've ever been to.
Oh yeah, it's
So
I couldn't believe how long he played
yeah, yeah. When he does
because he plays
the
two
Hank
two
3 and
sets,
then he does like the ass jack
the
stuff
ass
at the
jack.
end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
Oh, such
totally.
good shows.
Um,
So do you have anything in the works, like any projects you can talk about or anything coming out?
I I actually just got back last weekend from filming for my video part that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
Um, which is not really like, oh shit, is someone here? I think my sister's here.
Uh,
Um, can
we're
I
almost
just
done if
get
you
up and
need to
move?
go.
No, I can just get up and move.
That's
Look at this.
handy.
You can see my hallway.
Oh, that's rad.
Now I'm back in my office or whatever, cutting room. Um, but yeah, like it um so a while ago my daughter was like, Dad, you're turning 50. What do you want to do for your birthday? And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I want to film a video part. And I hadn't even thought about it.
Uh-huh.
It just came out of my mouth. So
That,
then I just ran it by some people and put the pieces together to make it happen. And
uh-huh.
it's been slow just because my lifestyle it isn't free at all like it used to be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so yeah, like my due date was for my birthday. Like I wanted my footage done not
Uh-huh.
the video done, but the footage done by September 24th, but we'll see about that. But
Okay.
but, but yeah, I'm working on that and it's called 50 Years to Life.
Right on. I mean, is
So
this a solo project or is it going to be
yeah,
under like
well,
Black Label or anything? Or?
it I'm working with Lucero
Okay.
and it's going through like Closer magazine.
Right on.
So they're going to do an article on it and then it'll like launch through their like YouTube channel or whatever.
I'm sorry.
But
What date did you say you're going to launch?
what what date?
Yeah. Did you have in mind?
Well, I just wanted the footage done by the end of September, the 24th,
Okay.
that because I have to give myself a deadline or nothing gets done.
Yeah.
But sometimes deadlines are pushed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
But I
the
really,
reason I'm
but it,
asking because like the episode I'm going to release from this is September 18th, so
oh, gotcha.
it'll be
Yeah.
like
So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, if I had more freedom, I could
uh,
easily have it done by then, but
right
I
on.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
don't have that freedom. But but
I'm
for
stoked
sure,
to see it, man.
I want to have the whole project done before the cruise
Yeah.
because I just wanted to like be like work on these things I'm working on by the cruise
Uh-huh.
and then have all my stuff for Christmas done by the cruise, which means for my store and everything. And then I'm gonna reassess my life.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy just hustling for a living, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Understand.
and just like every month's like, okay, how am I gonna pull it off this month?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get that.
that's
Sure.
kind of what I'm at where I'm at right now. Like do this video project.
Yeah.
I'm doing a book too,
Oh,
like
really?
or it's more like a hyper zine, I think, but it's gonna be
Uh-huh.
like my art because people always go like, oh, you should put out a little book. I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. But now that I'm doing this project, it's kind of going to be based kind of basically like what I've there might be some old stuff, but mainly it's going to be like what I've done since I sobered up, kind of. So like a lot of stuff of photos from filming the video and but a lot of art I've made throughout
Okay.
this time. It's kind of like post rehab.
Kind of like a total like Jim Carroll kind of thing,
Like yeah,
or like
it's
something like
going to be
that.
more like a nice zine, but
Uh-huh.
it's just something I wanted to do.
Okay, got you.
But it's going to be probably be called 50 Years to Life too. So
Right on.
it's all going to be kind of correlated to each other. And
Yeah.
I wanted to have all this stuff done by the cruise. So then, like I said, for the next year, I'd start figuring out what I'm going to do for the next year.
Yeah. Keep me
So
updated, man. Like for
I
real.
will.
Let
I
me
will.
know, about the video and the book and everything.
Hmm.
Like I'm stoked on that. That's
I don't
awesome
know.
for sure.
So yeah, that's what I got going on.
All right.
And then take whatever house painting jobs come my way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you're ever in Texas and Dallas and want to paint something, let me know. I'll find you
All right.
some. So, where can people find your stuff? I mean, because you have a website up, right? Where you
I
can.
do. I have a store.
Uh-huh.
It's called burningboyltd.com.
Okay. And you
And
can buy some of your prints and
yeah, I
your
can have there's prints, there's original art sometimes, there's my slappy hour stuff. It's pretty
okay.
much anything that I offer that's part of my little suburban hustle, my little creative hustle.
Okay.
But yeah, it's burningboyltd.com.
Burningboyltd.com.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. We'll post that. Um, all right, I guess we'll kind of wrap it out. Do you want to give any shout outs or thank
Um,
yous or goodbyes to anybody or
I don't know, man. Thanks for my kids for putting up with me.
yeah.
And and I really like if it I can't thank everyone enough who rallied to help me at a time that when I needed to sober up
Yeah,
because all the support that I got um from that is probably why it's been so easy for me today um
right on.
to keep a bottle out of my hand. So that
Yeah,
I really can't thank all those people enough.
yeah.
So
That's awesome. Amazing.
so yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, dude, I can't thank you enough for this.
No
It's
worries.
been rad. thank you very much, and I really thank you so much for taking the time,
No
talking to me
problem.
and stuff like that.
Well, thanks
So
for thinking.
absolutely. Again, this has been such an honor. I've been a fan for years. So yeah, for sure. Keep me updated, man, on the video part, the book, and everything like that. So
All right, man.
and I'll send you a little update and a little notice and everything when like this episode airs and puts out, stuff like
Sounds
that.
good. All right,
Cool.
we'll keep in touch then.
All right. Well, Jason, have a good night, man. And
All righty.
a good week, and thank you very much.
You too, bud.
All right, take care, man.
Later.